course, when I practice this in my office, it works so well. Let's try this again. That video didn't work. Let's try a different one.
We are back now with an exclusive look at how one of the world's biggest social media networks, Instagram, is creating a safe community for its more than 700 million users. In addition to already flagging and disabling harmful comments and posts, they're taking a stand for mental health awareness with the hashtag #HereForYou campaign. I had a chance to sit down with Instagram's Chief Operating Officer, Marty Levine, and Pretty Little Liars star, Troy Belsario, who shared her own personal story.
I knew that something was off, but I didn't want to speak about it because I didn't want to feel like an outcast.
Suicide affects 100,000 people each year.
I don't want to lose my life too, and I want someone to live it.
This morning, an exclusive first look at the powerful new global campaign launching on Instagram. Hashtag #HereForYou, encouraging users to share their own struggles with mental health. Tell us a little bit about this campaign.
People come to Instagram to tell their stories in a visual way, and through an image they're able to communicate how they're feeling, what they're doing. So what we decided to do is to create a video campaign highlighting these communities of support that exist in Instagram. And we featured 3 different community members who are all dealing with different issues, from eating disorders to depression to a guy in the UK who lost his brother-in-law to suicide.
Instagram teaming up with Pretty Little Liars star Troy Belsario for the campaign, opening up about her own battle. Eating disorder is something that you are very well aware of and have been so outspoken, and it's really helped a lot of people.
Once you have an eating disorder, it is something that you are always sort of in touch with, and it's a constant journey forward. I have a lot of friends and fans who feel sometimes like Instagram is the place in which you have to make your life perfect. You have to show only the best version of your life, only the happy moments, only the highlights. And it leaves you some part of your life that is hidden and in the dark. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right at all.
You've been a wonderful ambassador for that in so many ways. And I know that you had a group of friends who stayed in intervention when you needed it. And it was your community. Not everybody has that. And that's why this campaign is so vital, because
and Instagram is offering tools and a connection to speak to people, to speak to professionals, to review online literature, or to connect you to a community that can get you the help you need.
what is your hope? What at the end of the day do you hope to see?
The hashtag #HereForYou, that's something that people say all the time already on Instagram, but by giving examples of people in the community, people who they might be able to relate to, who are not alone.
Going through the health concerns that we have. You get very emotional because people can see. You can't see when somebody is going through a mental illness. And it's every bit as painful. And it's every bit as disease as cancer and anything else. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
And in addition to this Instagram campaign, Troy also wrote, produced, starred in a film about her struggle. It's called Feed, and it opens on July 18th. And it's wonderful to see social media used for good. And Instagram has really done a lot.
I wanted to show that video because I think that, the technology, things are changing, and how people get help with changing, and we're using different modalities. So it's important to use all those tools. You know, people will say, well, you're on the internet too much, you're playing with your phone too much, you're on Instagram, etc. But there's a lot of good things that you can use social media for. And here's one of the perfect examples of getting a campaign going for folks to kind of share what's going on. I mean, right now there's people using texting, they're using Skype to do kind of counseling sessions with each other. So it's really important to understand technology and social media, and you can all kind of interplay and help one another. So your individual wellness, it's kind of hard to see this, but these are kind of like a wellness wheel, and it talks of different aspects of your life, and it all kind of, one impacts the other, one influences the other. So when it comes to emotional wellness, you maintain your healthy emotional life by really managing your levels of stress, staying on top of schoolwork, which I'm sure is easy for everyone in here because you're all leaders and you're all part of the Leadership Academy and you're very intelligent. Getting 8 hours of sleep, how's that sound? Doable, easy, right? So now we have to examine ourselves a little bit, right? Seeing someone for help. It's always good to talk about things when they're on your mind or they're in you're thinking about them. It's really important to get it off your chest. So these are some of the recommendations to focus on your emotional health. Now your intellectual health, what is that about? That's about your mind, you know. As people get older, sometimes they say that your mind starts to go a little bit, right? There's things like dementia and Alzheimer's that folks suffer from. And there's studies that show that if you keep your mind active, you decrease the likeliness of getting those types of diseases, okay? So what do I mean by that? What I mean is you keep learning, you know, you keep learning new things every day. I think of my grandmother who lived to about 100. She lived probably 95 years old. Her brain was sharp. And why was that? Well, because she kept her mind active. She wasn't a corporate president or anything. You know, she was a grandma at home. She survived Poland during the Nazi invasion. She went to Argentina, so started a new life, learning a new language, a new culture. She raised, and her kids were born there, she raised her children there. Then at 80 years old, she decided to come to the United States. Again, changing, using, learning a new culture, new life, new language. Never complained about much. So her emotional wellness was actually very stable. She was really powerful and one of my role models, but just to see everything that she's gone through and to be so smart and so focused and so strong, it really is about really maintaining that emotional wellness and really the way you see things in life. Stressors come and people react very differently to the same exact stressors. Okay, it all depends on how, you know, your life and the way you cope with these kind of challenges. Physically, so it's extremely important to eat well. Okay, I'm glad you're all eating now, and I'm hoping that you all had breakfast this morning. When I go to classes, sometimes I find out that maybe 60% of them didn't have breakfast before they left their class, and they're expecting to eat their first meal at 12 o'clock. So that tells me that they're running on fumes. If you fasted and slept 8 hours at night, which I hope you did, you wake up in the morning, you go straight to school, you haven't really had any fuel in your tank, and your brain isn't working at full capacity. So that's really important, and these are things that, again, will all be part of that balance, that emotional wellness balance. Really looking at your health in different ways, the way you sleep. Do you get physical exercise? How many people here go to the gym once a week? Let's say once a week or more. Yeah. How many people exercise? And I mean exercise, walk maybe 20, 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Great, and that's so important because that's probably one of the best medications you can really take is naturally walking and exercising, jogging, moving around. It's all interrelated. And then we talk about social wellness, so your social network, looking at who do you have in your social network. And sometimes it's a little toxic, and that's something that we all hear on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to clean out my friend list and get rid of some of those folks, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to do that. But thinking about the people around you, are you around some positive people? Are you around people who are going to encourage you to grow? Or are you around people in your community that are kind of holding you down? So you need to evaluate that and see, is my social wellness okay? Maybe I need to do some cleaning up, unfriending folks, and really learning and engaging in positive peers and positive support. Some of those family members you can't get rid of, so you might have to just learn how to tolerate them better. But that's its reality. But your friends and your peers, you can really work on bringing some positive people around you. Being in the Leadership Academy, you're full of positive people. You're full of people with drive, ambition, people who want to grow and do well with their lives, right? Then we look at environmental wellness. What does that look like? Well, what does your room look like, right? Is it cluttered? Is there clothes all over the floor? It's not good. That clutter isn't healthy, all right? So you want to clean that clutter. You want to find a way to clean that clutter in your environment, because that's where you sleep. That's your safe home space, right? So when you clean, and after you get that room cleaned or that home cleaned, you feel differently, right? You feel, wow, this is nice. I can move around. I don't trip over things. I can find my stuff. So really, environmentally cleaning that home makes a big difference. Some people recommend just doing your bed and making your bed every morning, which may take about 5 minutes or less, probably less. Just putting the bed together in the morning when you come home from work or school, you see that bed well made, it kind of gets your mind feeling a little bit more at ease, okay? And then we talk about the environment, really being recycling, paying attention, not being wasteful, not buying things that you don't need and kind of cluttering and causing more pollution in the environment. So those are all the things to be about being environmentally well. Financially, you just, someone presented about financial wellness, but really it's important to understand that you're not spending more than you have, right? Living above your means. So, do I need that $300 pair of sneakers, or should I invest in groceries that can, keep me healthy? These are choices that we all have to make. And it's really good when you're feeling balanced financially, that you know that, okay, well, look, I'm not rich or anything, but at least I know that my bills are getting paid and I can stay under my roof, my home. So those are things that all kind of interrelate and can affect your emotional wellness. And your spiritual wellness. So whether you are whatever religion you might follow, or whether you don't follow a religion, that's fine, because meditation is another form of spirituality. Yoga and other things that you do, Tai Chi is another form of spirituality. So it's important to be grounded spiritually. A lot of people forget to talk about that. On this campus, we do have a priest, Father James Sheehan, who's there and speaks all religions. Even though he's a Catholic priest, he speaks all religions, and he's well connected with people in the community. So if you have any that kind of help, we're here to help you. So I wanted to go on into just a quick video of a resource in New York City. I don't know, has anyone heard of New York City Well? Anybody show of hands? Yes, maybe, no. It's initiative that came out of the mayor's office, and his Charlotte McQuarrie, the first lady, has really did an amazing job taking this and creating this wonderful, wonderful support for people. And it's as simple as making a phone call when you're a little overwhelmed and stressed, and finding out about all the great free resources that are available to you. So I'm going to just show a video of that, someone using that resource really quickly. Hopefully this one will work better. Anyone see this video? No.
My kids can push me too far. I need to talk.
Let's talk about what you need.
If you're struggling with depression, anxiety, or substance misuse, talk, text, or chat with someone 24/7 at NYC Well.
Real simple. It's real simple. It's just a phone call. I have kids. They drive me crazy sometimes, and I need to get a break and step away from them. So with that being said, really quickly, I want to introduce someone who works in our office. He's a graduate social work intern. And he's going to quickly tell you a little bit about the program we have for student parents.
Good afternoon. So who's a parent here? Awesome, great. So we run a program called Empowering Student Parents, and what we do is that we focus on the student parent. And what we want to do is that we want to make sure that you reach your goal, which is to graduate with your associate's degree. So what we do is that we take and we look at you in a holistic manner, and we want to look and identify any issues that you may have. And what we do is we don't want to solve the problem for you. What we want to do is that we want to connect you to the resources inside and outside of the school that will help you manage yourself in order to be self-sustaining and self-sufficient. So that is our goal, and our goal is to also advocate for you when necessary. So if you need anybody to back you up, that's what we're here for. Us at Empowering Student Parents is also, we also want to do is have educational workshops. What we do as educational workshop is that we have time management workshop. Time management equals stress management. When you manage your time well, your stress is so much less. And when that stress is so much less, you can be clear-headed to look forward and do what you need to do. Study, focus on your kids, whatever it is, when you manage your time well. We also do emotional support. So meaning is that we look at you in a holistic manner. So let me break down, does anybody know what holistic means? So holistic means beautiful, as a whole, mind, body, and soul. So with the mind, what we do is educational workshop. That helps you with your mind. We help you how to give you study habits. We do a learning assessment. Learning assessment means we find out how is it that you learn. Is it hands-on? Is it visual? Is it audio? And then we help you find healthy study habits with the learning habits that you learn. That's the mind. The body is very simple. We try to teach you how to eat healthy, how to have healthy habits. We also, in the health and wellness department, we have yoga, we have fun. So that's the body. And then the spirit is basically part that we have myself. I'm a social work intern. So if you ever need a space to come and just vent, that's what we're there for. So that's in a holistic approach that we take upon the student. And when we look at you as that way, you feel more comfortable, you feel more open, and you will be a better student and a better parent. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there anything else? And we are located in this building. It's in room D101, K and F. That's right back where you see single stop. Past single stop, we go all the way to the back. You talk to one of the people in the desk, and they will point you to the door. Thank you so much for your time. Please, anytime you want to come and talk, you're here.
By the way, the success rate of the students that engage, the student parents that can participate in the student parent program, their academic success is higher than the standard student that doesn't get that help. So just so you know, this program is really effective, and it's really helps people stay in school. If you're expecting and you're pregnant in college, or your partner's pregnant, we can help you as well. And we help those students plan for the future when it comes to am I going to stay in school, am I going to leave, all of that. So it's really important for us, for you all to meet with Franklin or Christine Francis, who's the project coordinator, to sit down and figure out what your needs are and how we can help you stay in school. So getting back to emotional wellness, it's basically it's a balance of our thoughts, feelings, and our behaviors. It's all integrated and it's connected. And it can be both positive and negative. So it's really how we manage our stress, and really it's about being aware, okay? A lot of people aren't aware of their emotional states sometimes, right? And we sometimes respond in a way that can get us into trouble, okay? So that's why it's really important to be aware. So some of the emotional issues that people experience, I probably experienced all of them. Anxiety, anger, mood swings, depression, appetite changes, nightmare, loneliness, suicidal thinking, exaggerated fears. There's a lot more than that, and it's a lot more common than we all think, okay? What we all share. I go back to that same point about physical issues, physical illnesses. We talk a lot more about those than we talk about the mental health or emotional challenges that we face. And it's all related to kind of this taboo that we have put upon ourselves, or society has put upon ourselves to really not get the help that we need. But all of these emotional issues tie into these physical issues, okay? So when you're dealing with anxiety, depression, appetite changes, any of these challenges, you're gonna most likely end up with these physical issues. From migraines, to hypertension, to ulcers. We have people who have difficulty sleeping. We might have upper respiratory infections. And why is that all related? Well, when you're really stressed out, your body produces chemicals, and what in fact that does is it lowers your immune system. So when your immune system is lowered, then you're more susceptible to getting sick. It's very simple, okay? Again, these are things that we don't really think about as much, and we really should really focus on. So how do we manage stress in a healthy way, okay? Talked about working out, going to the gym, walking for 20, 30 minutes a day, maybe 2 to 3 days a week. I prefer 3 or more, but whatever works for you. How about a hobby, from crocheting to painting to building things with your hands, to playing video games. Anything that's going to keep your mind into something else, because your mind then detracts from all of these other things and really focuses on something that you enjoy doing, okay? Meditation. At the college, we bring in a specialist that teaches meditation, all right? The person's here once a week, and we're going to be rolling it out again next semester, and you sit down in a group and you learn how to meditate. It's a skill set that you can carry for the rest of your life, and it's something that you learn and you practice and you get better at. Okay. Guided imagery is another form of meditation, and I'm going to show you a little bit of relaxation later. And having time for fun, right? So you did all this really great work during the semester. You finished a great paper or project or exam. You worked so hard for it. Now you have to reward yourself, okay? Now reward yourself in a healthy way. I don't want you to party so hard that you're sick the next day. But you can go and do some fun things that you like. Maybe go to the movies. Maybe just call a friend and hang out with them. Whatever it is. Really, it's important about rewarding yourself for the hard work that you do. Just like you do when you work. You have a job. You get paid at the end of the week or the end of a couple of weeks. It's that reward from doing the work that you do. So you want to reward yourself. It's really important to take care of yourself. You getting organized. Okay. I talked about your bedroom, but that doesn't mean your bedroom, your office, your schoolwork. The more organized you are, and Mr. Tapia mentioned time management, when you manage your time better, you're less stressed and better organized, so you know what's coming, okay? Because, unfortunately, there are a lot of things that come that we don't control, okay? Can anyone think of one thing that we don't control? What happens outside? Give me an example, a very specific example. The weather, right? Today's summer, a couple days ago was winter, right? Something with 3 letters, it's called the MTA. We don't control that, right? And we know how stressful that can be, right? So if you have a 9 o'clock class and you always get, you know that it takes you 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it takes you to get to school on the train or the bus, and you calculate exactly what time that train comes, when that train doesn't come or there's a delay on the train while you're sitting there, while they're figuring out the signals, which happens very often, we get stressed out and we really overwhelmed. So really understanding that we have to then take a step ahead of that and be proactive and leave earlier because we don't know what's going to happen with those trains or buses. As best we can. Obviously, there are things that are out of our control. Being positive, really understanding how you respond to whatever's happening in your life, any negative things that are happening, from the train to everything else. really learning to see that silver lining of being positive really has an impact on the way your body responds and the way you overcome that obstacle. So like I mentioned earlier, you know, a lot of people could be dealing with the same stress, okay? Like let's say housing, okay, that's a big stressor. But how we respond and how we manage that with that stress is really how we're going to come out of that situation. The more positive, the more hopeful we are, the more likely that we are going to go get help and connect and end up finding some kind of solution to the challenge. But if you're just hopeless and you just kind of give up, then you know you're not going to likely going to get someone knocking at your door and say, hey, I got a great apartment for you, and by the way, it's really cheap and you'll be fine. You know, it doesn't happen. You have to be proactive, be positive, and be hopeful. And seeking balance, which is extremely important. You know, seeking balance of your work-life balance. Okay, so if you're a student and you might be a parent and you might have a job, where do you find time for yourself? Okay. Always important to balance your life. You have to take care of yourself, okay? And accepting mistakes, which I find that a lot of people don't accept mistakes. But, you know, we're all human, right? We all make mistakes. There's no one who does not make a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Accepting that mistake. There's some people, well, I won't name their names, but they sit in the White House and they never accept their mistakes. You know? They don't believe they don't believe they can make any mistakes, and that's just unreal. It's unheard of. Yes, it is part of that being a narcissist. And so, if you can't accept that you're human and that you're gonna make a mistake and you're gonna do the wrong thing or send the wrong email or whatever it is, you're gonna be hard on yourself and you're gonna be tough on yourself and you're not gonna acknowledge that you need help. And like I talked to you a little bit earlier, it's important to be aware, right, and be self-aware. So we talked a little bit about self-care, really taking a break when you need it, whether it be going to the park, going to the zoo, going to the museum, the library, reading a book that you like, not one that you have to read for school, okay? Then I like this visual of the umbrella when the rain's coming down. It's really just taking care of yourself. It's really important. And we tend to overlook that. Especially men, when it comes to physical health. Men are less likely to go for medical checkups, annual physicals. They wait till they get sick to end up going to the doctor and then, you know, finding out. And so this is something that I'm going to speak to the men about. Is really important to get checked out. Check, you know, whether it be emotional or physical self-care is really, really important. Sometimes we think if we don't look at it, if we don't focus on it, it's going to go away. Now, if anyone's ever had a car or driven in the car, if you don't focus on those noises in the car, eventually it's going to break down and you're going to be in trouble. And you're going to end up paying a lot more money to get it fixed, okay? So it's really important to focus on taking care of yourself. So we look at hygiene and grooming, right? Get your nails done. I can't get my hair done, but you can get your hair done, right? Take care of yourself. Doesn't it feel good after you do something like that? Right? So make sure you do that. You take care of yourself, whatever that means to you. Sleeping, I say 8 hours, 6 hours on the lower end, 10 hours on the higher end of that continuum. But it's so important to get sleep because, again, sleep is the other thing that will really affect the way your body functions. So if you're not sleeping well, your metabolism is all thrown out of whack. You can gain weight because of that. Your brain doesn't function as well as it should because the brain needs to rest as well as the body. So really sleep is extremely important. And just one quick sleep tip, if you have the tendency of taking your phone to the bed with you or a computer or leave the TV on, all of that stuff will impact your sleep at night. So it's important to get rid of any blue lights in your room, which means the TV, the monitor, the phones. LED lights are really bad for sleep. In fact, they were just talking about that yesterday, how they put a lot of the street lights, LED lights on the street, and what happened is that light from the street affects the way you sleep at night. So get really dark blinds if you can, and don't sleep in a really warm environment. It's supposed to be a little bit chilly. And that's really helpful. So really don't take the computer to bed. If you have a chair in your room, sit in the chair because you condition your mind to think the bed is to work and not to sleep. okay? So these are little tips that you can look at, but there's a bunch of different tips, and feel free to come to my office. I'm also in D101, the first floor, to go over that. Let me just see where I am right now, because I had, the last one right here. This too shall pass. And I like to say this a lot because we all go through these tough times where we feel like we're stuck and we're not going to get over whatever challenge we're facing. And, you know, at the moment that we're experiencing it, our brain is like freezing, and there's things shooting all over the place, the neurons and through the synapses, and we're really like all over, and we're confused. We don't know how to handle those types of really challenging situations. But if you remind yourself that it'll pass, whether it be a real bad, maybe an anxiety attack or a really bad day, and realizing that, you know what, it's going to get better. This is the worst it's going to be. It's going to get better. It's going to pass, you know. When you hit a bump in the road, remember that this is going to pass, and that things change, life changes, and we all grow, and we all change, and we all get older, okay? There's some to be a lot of denial that we get older, you know, and that we grow and we change, but that's just part of life. We have to accept that. So when you have a change in semester, and you have a change in work, let's say you have a new supervisor, or new policies that come out, or your professor changes the work assignment, just think about that. It's okay, you know, this is part of life, and things are constantly be changing. The communities continue to change, okay? So we have to learn to adapt to the changes and focus on the things that we can control, okay? So always realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So as bad as it is right now, there's gonna get better, and you're gonna look back at that and say, wow, I got through some really tough times, and I'm okay now. And always remember to reflect back to those challenges that you overcame, because that helps you kind of say, wow, I got over much worse than this, and I'm okay now. I can get through this, okay? Again, positive self-talk. Think positively, it's going to change the way you do things. So what I wanted to go and do, let's see if I got this on here. Yeah. I wanted to do a quick meditation exercise. And this is just one example. There's so many different ones out there that you can work on that are really easy to do and are really helpful to do. And you know, it takes time. Every time you do this exercise, you get better at it. And for each person, it's really different. Let's see if I can figure out how to open this up.
Present in mindfulness moment number 1.
So just quickly, as we go through this exercise, breathing is really important, and learning how to breathe correctly is really important, and it's part of relaxation. So when we're stressed out and when we're really anxious and nervous, we breathe from our chest, okay? So like someone hyperventilating will breathe like this. When we're relaxed and we're more calm, you can think of a baby. When a baby breathes, you lay them on their back and their stomach goes up and down, right? So their stomach goes back. So when you breathe through here, you're more relaxed. If you breathe through your chest, you're more stressed. So one thing that I tell people to do at home is, let's see how you do. Try the breathing exercise. So if I'm breathing like this versus that's something that some people can do naturally and other people can practice. So what I tell you to do at home is practice your breathing techniques. You can lay on your bed or on the floor, breathe in through the nose and slowly breathe out through the mouth. When you breathe in through the nose, you try to push your stomach out. If you lift that hook on your stomach or you're laying on your back, and see if that goes higher than your chest. You can just put a hand on your chest. Take a couple deep breaths and see how that feels. Breathing alone itself will help you relax. And think of something positive. A positive image will evoke a positive emotion. So that positive image might be a child laughing, it might be a pet, it might be a friend, it might be a food, it might be an experience. Whatever that is for you, going on the beach, going hiking, that image you put into your head while you're doing some of these breathing exercises. So now I'm going to have you just focus on the screen for a little bit.
Today we're going to take 5 minutes to relax the body and the mind so that you can feel energized and relaxed. Get yourself comfortable. If you can, close your eyes and
Rush, relax, put your
breathe
feet on the floor, put your arms on your side. Take them to your chair.
Bring your attention to your breath. Breathe naturally and just notice how easy and calming you feel. Now notice your body. Is it warm, cold, tense? Just notice your feet.